A man who describes himself as a recovered, longtime crackhead, junkie, alcoholic, now playing a gigantic role in helping other Memphians struggling with addiction.
That's right. In an astounding about-face, a man named Ben Owen, his wife Jess, and their growing Memphis team are using their recoveries and business savvy to help people fight monsters in the Bluff City and beyond.
Our calling was to come back to Memphis for the people we left behind. And the reason for that, we spent 5 years being an absolute terror on these streets out here, pumping tons of money into the dope economy. They wanted nothing to do with the dope game at all.
Tatted and raw, Ben Owen walks like he's right at home on the dead end of Melrose, just off McLemore in South Memphis, where Owen and his wife Jess say they did a lot of dope.
We always had like this foxhole prayer that we would say, even when we were in the trap house living there. And it was, God, if you can get us out of this together, we promise we'll come back for those we left behind.
The couple has come a long way from their mugshot days. They bottomed out and got clean 5 years ago. The couple kept their prayerful promise and returned to Memphis from Georgia, buying the very crack houses where they did drugs and saw sex trafficking 24/7.
We have what used to be a brothel right down the street here. There were a total of 9 women trafficked out of that house, 4 people shot in that house that I know of in 2017.
Ben tells chilling tales on YouTube about the crime-riddled chaos that happened at 1186 Melrose.
I was in active addiction and smoking my life away. And came very close to killing myself out here 1,000 times over. In fact, back corner of this house, through that back door, I actually had a pistol to my head, and the dude on the other end of that pistol pulled the trigger, and it's a miracle that it didn't go off. I don't know what sort of divine intervention happened.
Call it a miracle if you like. Ben and Jess created a Memphis nonprofit called We Fight Monsters that transforms addresses like 1186 Melrose, the longtime crack house, into a show house.
What we decided to do was make the bathroom larger because it was very, very tiny. And we knew we were going to be putting women and kids in here.
Lucretia Sims now lives in the remodeled home with her spouse and grandchildren. Lucretia, Ben, and Jess say they got high here together regularly. Lucretia and her 2 siblings were among those Ben and Jess returned to rescue.
Ben and Jess persuaded me to get into treatment. So I got into treatment, and this is the outcome. I wouldn't trade it in for nothing.
I like the use of the word investments, right? These houses are investments in people's lives. We're not just rebuilding houses. We are rebuilding lives.
Their nonprofit now oversees 4 properties on Melrose and other former crack houses in South Memphis where more lives are being rebuilt. Then they purchased the Memphis Rebos network of halfway houses for people in early recovery. Rebos is sober, spelled backwards. The nonprofit oversees 42 beds where formerly addicted people get going forward in life, often with a nudge from drug court.
Well, the mission is to turn old dope houses into hope houses.
49-year-old Christopher Bobbitt has 20 months of sobriety, longest stretch of clean living, he says, since his teen years. Bobbitt works on another of the nonprofit's former crack houses on South Memphis's Woodward Street. A mother who's suffered and overcome many challenges will have a place to begin a new life with her children here.
We pretty much patched all the bullet holes up and new electrical, new plumbing. So they're going to have a decent little home to live in.
It's the broken that's coming to fix the broken.
Josh Sneed says drug court sent him to rehab and then Ben and Jess's halfway house, where he's helped fix old crack houses and learned a new way of life.
Now that I'm learning how to live sober, now this is what you do to keep it in action and to keep moving forward.
You close down these houses, the dope houses, you remove that driver of instability from the community, and the entire thing just revitalizes. It comes back. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
Ben and Jess finance all this through tax-deductible donations to their We Fight Monsters Memphis nonprofit, where they've been the most generous benefactors. Owen owns Black Rifle, a Georgia data intelligence company focused on the firearms industry, as he told the podcast Modern America.
So we essentially created an ad platform using the same data, the same observed behavioral data Google uses to allow people that have firearms brands to advertise. We use the same data to try to combat human trafficking wherever we can.
That kind of innovation caught the attention of a network of military veterans who served in Afghanistan. Owen, an Army vet, says he was less than 2 years sober when recruited by the network to use his web abilities and street savvy to help track and then house Afghan interpreters and their families. Many Afghans who had helped U.S. troops in the long war with the Taliban were on the run from the brutal regime.
I got to say, my junkie skill set, my addict skill set, came in super handy on that.
In an incredible turn of events, Ben and Jess say they leased and managed 68 Afghan safe houses and helped some Afghan families escape the war-torn country.
Now, looking back, safe housing in Afghanistan was a lot easier than running sober living in Memphis. As we're taking people from these same streets and pulling them into our mission. You know, we've seen dope boys stop selling dope. We've seen pimps stop selling women, and they all have kind of come alongside our mission, helping us, like I said, turn dope houses into hope houses. And I'm not really aware of anybody else in the world that's doing what we're doing out here, which is sad because it's a life-changing thing.
I don't know of anybody doing this to where they've come back to the exact same place they used to do bad things in and make it better. But that was our promise to God, and we're doing it.
Could it be that Memphis, where so many great companies have been founded and flourished, could it be the Bluff City, with so much crime that it's a nightly crisis, might be the very place where Ben and Jess Owen are pioneering a piece of the puzzle to part of the solution that could be replicated widely? The founders of We Fight Monsters say yes.
We pulled this off without firing a single shot, without sending a single person to jail. You know, it's just meeting people where they're at and trying to get it done right here at a grassroots level. And I think if we want to drive any real change in South Memphis, or really in any big issue that we face in America, that's the only way it's going to happen.
If you'd like to learn more about the Memphis nonprofit We Fight Monsters and the selfless service of Ben and Jess Owen, click on this story at actionnews5.com.